The Saint-Gobain headquarters in Malvern is an example of the open, collaborative office design that's become popular in the past several years. But it's the first building to do a comprehensive study of the wellness of the people who inhabit the building. And they came up with some surprising statistics.
Well, what we found is that when you improve the comfort and well-being of the people in a building by designing a more dynamic building, they start to behave differently. And I think that's the exciting part is we've watched them for the last 2.5 years and seen how they've evolved from where they used to work, a place that was built in the 1970s, to this new dynamic building where we're managing the acoustics, the thermal comfort, the air quality, the exposure to daylighting. And we're seeing people form teams faster. We're seeing them solve problems better, and we're seeing them really enjoy the experience of coming to work in a way that they probably haven't before in their career.
40% of the employees surveyed say they feel more productive working in this building, and nearly 29% said they're experiencing less symptoms of sick building syndrome like dry eyes, back pain, and inability to concentrate on their jobs. You might think that the most important thing for people in a building like this would be comfortable seating and bright lighting, but it's actually the acoustics, according to the study that Saint-Gobain completed.
Acoustics. I will say it over and over again. There are beautiful spaces. They just look wonderful, and on paper, they look great. In modeling, they look great. But when you bring people in, people tend to behave differently. And so I would say focus really on how to model the acoustics when 20 people, 60 people, 120 people get into a space. That's going to get you further. And then the one that I thought was really interesting is daylighting. The biggest impact we've had for people on a day-to-day basis is that they can see the outside. And when they see the outside, their circadian rhythms stay intact, and they feel like they have more energy and they feel more connected to their environment. So that's actually been one of the things that people came back to us and said, if I were to move anywhere else, the thing I would miss the most was just the ability to look up and see the outside world.
It's more about acoustics than you think. There's a lot of different people who will talk about the pluses or the minuses of the open plan concept. And I truly think that the reason that this open plan and this project works as well as it does is because of the attention placed on acoustics. It's not a simple problem and it's not a simple solution. So there's an awful lot of thought that goes into crafting the acoustic packages within the building. And in the end, that's, again, I think why this one works the most. It often shocks people when we take them for the tour, and after the tour, they've seen this monstrous glass building with all these amazing features, and you say, what do you think the most expensive thing was? And usually they say the glass or things like that, and it makes sense because it usually is. Actually, the most expensive thing in this building is the ceiling. We spent more time on and more consideration and more resources on the ceiling and the walls in this building to control the acoustics and to give it the proper end result than I think most projects do. And that's one of the reasons that perhaps we succeed where they have failed.
This site was renovated about 3 years ago from an existing office building owned by an insurance company, and it incorporates a number of modern features that every developer of a collaborative office space should be thinking about.
We realized that people form groups faster, so we opened up more of the meeting rooms. We learned that some of the casual areas that we had originally thought people would use, they weren't using. We learned that the cafeteria was really, really important. People wanted to come together in bigger groups more often, and then we started to realize that the outside people wanted to be here too. So we weren't prepared for having 17, 18,000 people come to visit us in a given year. That threw us.
In Malvern, Pennsylvania, I'm Steve Lubetkin, State Broadcast News.